So I think if we want Maxime Bernier to have an actual shot at victory, all these YouTubers right now promoting him and stuff is good, right? It's going to convince some people who are maybe on the fence about voting for Maxime Bernier or leaving the Conservative Party. So that is good for these people, right? But ultimately, a lot of it is just pandering to people who already think the same way as you do. So, us promoting Maxime Bernier on our YouTube channels a lot isn't necessarily going to have too much of an impact. It will have some, don't get me wrong, but I think what will have an even greater impact is actually just talking to people in your day-to-day life, right? Like if all of our subscribers, us included YouTubers, had conversations with one person a day, you'd be surprised how much of an impact that could have. Like just and how easily it is actually to convince people or to show them, say like, look at all the shit that Trudeau is doing. Just name off all the things, all of his fuck ups that the media, usually brushes off to the side. Or the fact is, most people are not politically literate. They do not pay attention to the news, so they don't know what the fuck is going on. So you just telling them and will open their eyes and will be like, wow. Like the other day I was at work and I was working in this metal department, and I was in there because I had twisted my ankle while I was on the roof. I was hopping over something, and then I landed on my ankle, so I was out for a while. But I was working in that metal department with this like little Filipino dude, and we were talking about politics. He clearly didn't know like anything that was going on, and by the end of it, he's like, "Fuck, I'm never gonna vote for that Trudeau guy," and it was fairly easy to convince him to be like, "Hey, Maxime Bernier is probably the best option, right? And you should vote for him." Right, so this one little Filipino guy, right? Who knows who he is going to talk to now too and convince, right? We don't know the impact of changing one mind. Like we think we're just changing one, which we are, but that one person could go and I don't know. We don't know who that person is going to be in the future. Maybe they're going to be very popular, have a lot of power, and you putting in that seed, changing their mind, then can have massive impacts in the future. And like I said, if we talk to one person a day, convince one person a day, I'm telling you, it's very fucking easy. A lot of my subscribers are smart people, okay? They're very smart, and I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. You having a conversation with a regular person who is politically illiterate, you are going to change their fucking mind in no time. Okay, and everybody they interact with now too, they will maybe potentially change their mind, and they're going to look at the media differently. Like that's the thing. A lot of people, like I said, are politically illiterate. They don't really know what's going on. So you just pointing out a lot of the fake news, the bullshit, can easily convince people. I've convinced tons of people just in my regular life to be more libertarian, to be more right-wing. And it's not that hard. You could do it, I can do it, and like I said, YouTube is great. It can reach more people, but ultimately we are pandering to people who generally agree with us to a large extent. So that isn't gonna have too much of an impact. But if everybody who follows us talks to, like I say, one person a day, just bring up a little bit about politics, feel them out. I'm not saying go have a huge argument with them and shit, but say, hey, did you hear about what's going on like with NAFTA and what Trudeau did, or how Chrystia Freeland handled Saudi Arabia, or how they handled China, or what they did in India, all this shit. People, they don't know. They don't know at all. They don't like I'm telling you, man, people they don't watch the news. Like my brother, for example, or my two older brothers, right? They don't know what's going on at all. Like, the other one is like a bum, drunk, in and out of prison, like doesn't watch the news, whatever. Like, I don't even want that fucker to vote, honestly. But the other one, yeah, he plays video games, or finds other things to interest them, and they don't watch the news at all. So these people are the easiest to convince. It's the people who think they know everything already. It's the people who are generally more educated. It's the people who are politically inclined or already, politically active and shit. Those people, very difficult to convince. But like I said, most people are not. Most people are not politically active. They're not politically aware. They don't watch the news. So you'll have no problem convincing them. And like I said, YouTube is good, but it's only gonna reach so much. And I can't really convince you guys really of anything. You guys are already smart people. You already know what's going on. So ultimately, I'm just bringing you the news and stuff that is going on and giving you my opinion about it. But we can't underestimate the power of just a conversation, an honest conversation. Don't demean people, call them stupid, things like this. Like generally, people who do say they're socialist or they're this or they're that, it's not because they're bad people. They just think this is the best way to make things equal for everybody, to make everybody happy and this crap, right? But generally people who identify as socialists, they're already a little bit too far and they're gonna kind of have to learn on their own. But people who they think that they think socialism isn't necessarily a bad thing, or it's not, they're like, wow, everything's just going to be equal for everybody. Oh, that sounds great. Clearly they're not bad. They just need to be shown the way. And they don't know the history of communism and history of socialism and the impacts it has had on society. Because why? Because we don't get taught it. We're constantly told about Nazis and Nazism and how bad Christians are and all this shit, but communism and socialism, they're like, well, it's actually pretty good, and they just kind of implemented it wrong the other times, but really they had such good criticisms of capitalism and whatever. It's like there's courses taught in it. You're never going to see a course taught in Nazism, but communism is just as bad or fucking worse. They do have a higher death count, and at least Nazis didn't kill their own fucking people, which is bad. They killed all these other people, but like the socialists and then the fucking communists, they starved their own people, like millions and millions and millions of them. They're horrible. It's a horrible ideology, and a lot of people are just unaware of it. So you be there, lots of you guys are, like I said, smart, and you will convince them. So we need to start doing this now. Start having conversations now. It's not even for the election, right? Which is good. We need to win it. We don't want Trudeau to win again. But just for in general, just for the future in general, convincing people to like freedom as opposed to authoritarianism. Right? Like that is good in general. Having people want freedom of speech, want all these things as opposed to more government. Teaching them that, your government is not actually going to make your life a lot better, and showing them that it actually makes things generally worse. People, they used to have a much higher literacy rate than they do now, especially in America and stuff. But the government schools have only gotten bigger. The government has only gotten bigger. They've only gotten more involved in your life, yet everything is going down, right? So that has to tell you something. And even though the quality of life is also going up, that is in spite of the government. That is in spite of the socialism. That is because they have parts of capitalism still within our fucking economy. And yeah, we're running on fumes of capitalism pretty much right now, and off the wealth generated from it, but we're slowly moving more and more left. But it's still, we still have parts of capitalism that are bringing out new inventions to make our lives easier to live. They always correlate the government with the rise of living standards and stuff. But if you look at it, it's, there's the invention of the television, They didn't invent that. The invention of the vehicle, they didn't invent that. The only thing they can claim inventing is the fucking internet. But not even that. They just invented like a first little part of it, and it was all these other private industries and individuals who later created the internet for everybody to use. So, you know, they're gonna take claim of shit, but really we're a mixed economy, and we're getting more and more socialistic. But yeah, that's all I pretty much had to say. Don't forget to, like I said, talk to people in your day-to-day life. And oh yeah, I wanted to promote a few people. Frank Vaughan or Vaughan or something, or Vaughan. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but I'll put a link in the description below. I've seen a couple of his videos lately, and he's fucking super energetic. You know, makes, like, you know, very interesting to watch. You know, his videos are like half an hour, but you know, you're interested the whole time. So I definitely recommend you check him out, and check out everybody else I put in my recommended feed. I put in a few more people in there. I've watched all their content, not every single one of their videos, but I've watched everybody that I've put in there, and I like all of their stuff. So check out all of them in the recommended list. But that's all I pretty much had to say. If you like my content, subscribe, and have a good day. See ya.